Hi, this is KV, and it is time for more astrology energy news. As this is not the easiest time for many people out there. And first off, I want to reiterate that it would behoove you, which is funny. I've said behoove, and I've heard behoove in a couple times in the past couple days, and I've never said behoove, and now I just did. Okay, so it would behoove you to go and listen to the last two videos that I did, because they are still summing up what's going on with everybody right now, and I'll add more to this. But so basically, to sum up what is happening for us is that we are coming to that fuck this shit point, and it's been building and building and building, and what ultimately is just really going on, it's not such a bad thing, but it's really that we are having to take responsibility with our life and with our decisions and with who we're choosing to have in our space, because this is also still very much relationship based. So a lot of people are just feeling like, you don't feel good around me, we don't feel on the same page, I don't feel like I can trust you. It's just really important that we are only taking on things, projects, jobs, and thought processes that really make our hearts sing. So right now, there's definitely different there's different ways of expression of how this is affecting people right now. So some are having the time of their lives, and some are just in these situations that feel so hopeless and they don't know what to do. And ultimately, you know, it just seems like it really just boils down to the way the planets are speaking to us right now is that you are being asked to own your gifts. And that was part of that shift that took place around the August 26th, where I said we're going to be kind of bit by bit filled up with complete and utter confidence in what we're here to do. But before that comes, we first have to see everything that is so not working and does not feel good. And for a lot of people, you are being pushed to the absolute edge of this cliff and are being forced to make a decision. And believe it or not, the decision to be made is really just to only allow things into your life that are really honoring of who you are and what you're here to bring. So, so much for people, it is this creative-based, doing your own thing. But until you really believe in yourself and know that you can do it, there's no way you can push yourself out into the world. It won't bring you the results you want if you are still doubting yourself, or if you're still thinking, you know, it's so funny, I've had like 4 conversations this morning with artists, and it was all this kind of same thing, like they know they have these really good things that they can do, but they just haven't fully owned that they do really have these gifts. And until that moment can come, you're going to keep magnetizing things that defeat you in a way, that they're kind of beneath you. And I don't really want to put it like that, but they're just, you're going to keep manifesting these things that are going to end up, you know, kind of breaking your heart in a way. So be easy on yourself with the things that are falling away, because this is a huge time of, if it is not right, it will be taken away. If it is not right, you are going to lose it. If it is not right, you're especially really going to know it now. You're going to feel it more than anything, of just like, this is not the best person. Relationships are really big in this one because we have the new moon in Libra. So everything that's just out of balance, not right, is just all going to fall away. And the cool thing is that then something better will be put into its place. So don't fear if you know, got this job and now you got fired and you don't know what to do, and you know, it wasn't the right job. If it was the right job, you wouldn't be fired from it. You know, you wouldn't. And a lot of times jobs like that are just to get us to another point later in opening to another job. I was talking to someone too about so many of the service industry jobs I can now see how, had I not worked there, I wouldn't have met that person, had that thing happen, meet that person and that thing. So there's always, you can always go down the line of why this happened, why you were working there, why, you know, why you had to learn that skill. But one thing too, with these energies right now, the only thing you really need to listen to is your gut. We have to listen more to our bodies, and that's where we're feeling a stronger calling of, I keep listening to my mind, it tells me I have to do it this way, and then you're just going to get thrown out on your ass again, because you can't think it with your mind. It has to be with your heart, and unless it like makes your heart sing, it's not the right thing. And it's really hard for a lot of people to change, you know, because there's these fears of going out on a limb and trusting, and so it takes a lot of strength within to make these choices. But as time goes on, and especially through 2014, I think 2014 is probably going to be the most shifting and important year of all of our lives. I really think like this year and next year are the big game players. So if you're having a hard time, because that's the thing, is we tend to get kind of defensive when we don't really want to hear what someone's trying to tell us, if we're not ready for it. So we will continue to do what we think we should do, and it'll have the same results, will keep happening. And at some point, which is a really big important point right now of people coming to this, you're just like, I have to have a new perspective of this. I have to see, like, what am I doing wrong? Why are the things I want not coming? What do I need to change? So it's a very big soul searching time right now. There's very much like quiet and spending time alone are really important right now, and just journaling and kind of writing through, and you know, kind of asking for higher answers to even come through you. And I had this in my dream time last night. I was told that I needed to share this concept, and it's kind of rude in a way, but I want you to just take it with a grain of salt. But I was told this term of the half humans, and it's where and you can relate to this when you hear it, but the half humans, when you're a half human, you're always looking for something outside of you to make you whole. So you'll say, I have to be in a relationship to be happy. I have to be living my soul's purpose to be happy. Even like with these kind of videos, I try to keep them more on the not so often, so that you can take the time to really kind of feel your own way through this. Because if I give you too much of, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, you're going to basically be a half human, because you're going to be coming to me, counting on me, having to listen to me first before you can start your day. You know, it's things like you have to check your emails before you start your day, half human, you know. So everything, we're going outside of our bodies to kind of fill us up. And I can say that people that I do consider to be whole humans, they rarely watch my videos, you know. No, or they just are more like, oh, you have a new one out, cool, I can't wait to listen to it. I'll have to make some time for that. But once you become like a whole, where you don't need anything outside of you to make you happy, you don't need these other things, you just are kind of content and happy, and it's all good no matter what is happening, even when it is rocky. But you aren't always looking outside of you to help you understand things, to help you feel peaceful, to help you calm down, to help you understand things. And it all, you know, it helps to be, have these things reinforced. Obviously it's great at times to go somewhere and to be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear to help pull me through. But at the same time, there is the addiction facet that you do need to look at, in considering if it is, you know, helping you, or if it's something that is like a crutch, or something that is assisting you and providing empowerment or motivation, or if it is just turned into an addictive kind of crutch. And it's really important that we pull back from those things. And you know, we are all equipped to channel information, to find ways to feel safe in life, to make every decision that needs to be made in our life. Like we fully have this psychic shaman being, inside each one of us. But we're always kind of giving our power away, giving our power away, giving our power away. No, no, only you can do that. I don't know how to do that. And it's something that has had me even kind of pulling back in my business, because I don't want to make it be a crutch. I want it to be like a little bit of salt on your dinner, to liven it up. But I don't want to be the whole dinner. I don't want to be the whole thing for you. I want it to be cool. That made me think. That's why too I always try to like make you think, I try to plant some seeds in you and kind of help you move into a certain direction, but you have to go there on your own. And it's just really important that we learn these sovereign ways within ourselves of how to understand ourselves, how to understand what's going on, and how to just feel more peace and calm in the world on our own, sitting outside in nature and just being rejuvenated by the powers of and energies of Mama Earth to help pull us through when things get crazy. So the internet has, in a way, really kind of created this half-human addiction of, I can't do it on my own. I need you to, fix me, heal me, help me. And it's just really important, that we find that power within ourselves, that we find that liberating power that is within each one of us. And I was talking earlier to someone about there is a distinct timing with this, though, and that's what's happening after the energy that came onto the planet on the 26th of August, was that, bit by bit, piece of sand by piece of sand, you're just going to really be filled up into these much more whole, complete, sovereign, I love myself, I love myself, therefore everything in my life just kind of comes together, and even if it's not the right thing, I still, can handle that it is part of my life path, and there's something perfect in it for me to see. So that's what's happening. We are also, with the sun moon, it's really cool because basically, I always talk about the hot spot with the Pluto-Uranus square, and Jupiter and the black moon have spent a lot of time down there. The black moon's actually the one that's closest into this Grand Cross kind of thing going on. But where the sun and moon are, I think it's so interesting that they're at the hot spot of that 12 degrees Libra. And what's interesting too is I've had so many charts recently, like my Uranus is at the 12 degrees Libra. So I've kind of really felt this, and it's in my 9th house. But yeah, so it's been really big for me. I feel like this Pluto-Uranus square is what is getting me out into the world, I kind of feel like I had to wait for this to happen. But I've also been getting a lot of people whose charts like have the moon there or have their rising sign there, which one person, a shout out to Christian, your chart, which should arrive any day, your rising sign is at that 12 degrees, so that's important for you. This new moon is in kind of redefining yourself. But anyway, just had to throw that in there because I was like, oh, look, his is that. So anyway, so we're right at that hot spot, and this is also, there's so much to this one with truth, awakening to truth, really kind of seeing where we are walking life as that half human and needing other things to fill us in and help us feel whole. There's so much in it with relationships, so it's where like you're just seeing how you've been manifesting the wrong people over and over, and with each new one you probably go, oh, this time it's going to be different, but there really is something in, pulling back and not always, like I remember I realized that because I was really active in the dating world before I turned 28. That was the end of it, but very, very active in that, but I would just always, it was just one after the other, 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 and I never cheated. I was somebody who never have ever cheated on anybody. I've never kissed anything. Like, I'm really, like, hardcore about being loyal in that category. But I still, they would go one after the other after the other. I'd like end one with another one, start another one the next day with someone else. And I remember being like, gosh, I need some space between these. How am I ever going to heal and learn lessons if I'm always bouncing right back into another relationship? And it wasn't really until I pulled back that I could start the healing journey of really getting clear on what we want, because that's what we're really seeing right now too. If you are single or recently departed, what you really, really want from someone, what you really, really want from someone. And it's kind of like you can only really come to that when you are alone and when you're not in relationship, because if you are just, going back and forth into the relationships, you're just going to inevitably repeat the same things over and over and over. It's kind of like it's going to happen, and whether you think no, 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 this time this person's different, it's still going to be the same thing until you've taken that retreat out of those situations to really gain a new perspective of what you really want. Because if you haven't had that time to pull back, you're just going to keep manifesting that same thing because you haven't had the time to really claim and state what you need in a partnership. And those things change over time too, so it's like as we grow and evolve, we need different things from a lover and a partner. And so you may be in one of those places right now of really looking back and seeing, what do I need? And you also being honest with looking at the history that you have had and what did each relationship show you that you needed. And a lot of times, because especially with how the energies are right now and with the planets speaking, it's really about you, like, looking back honestly, because it's going back into our past, it's going back into our wounds, but it's all for the point of liberating us. So we're definitely kind of pulled back and going, wow, I really liked what I had with that person. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I did like this. But one of the things that is really birthing out of this, by taking the time to really think this through and to demand the best, is that you are valuing yourself more. And there's something with this, because when you value yourself, only the best comes, and we all have to choose what value means to us. It can be something money related. It mostly is just something self-worth related, and once you kind of pull back and learn to love yourself, because that's something too, you're not going to learn to love yourself in partnership. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's way too strict and in a box. But because a lot of relationships you do learn a lot that way, so I don't want to state it like that. But if you are in a pattern of repeating something that is not healthy, then yes, you aren't loving yourself yet, and that's why you're magnetizing it. But if you're magnetizing a partner who wants to heal with you and work with you and be honest about your guys' shit, then that's great. That's like something that is a quality relationship. But most likely it isn't. It's out of balance, where one person's using the other, and the person's usually using the other who doesn't really value themselves. So it's really important that, and especially everything too with how we are, like with Mercury right there with the North Node. I mean, this is where it's really like we are being called to go to the very depths of our body, of our life experience, of our history, and to claim and name what we need to really be better on this track that feels like it's more like our destined track. So really like demanding what we need. And that's what the universe wants from us so much, she's just like, what do you want? What do you want? Like, what do you want? And we might tend to say something, but then we reverse and just take something less than. And we just have to break through this mental blocks, because it's mental, because I'm also feeling these things where people are really resistant. They know they need to change, but they don't want to hear it. They aren't open to, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. I think I'm supposed to push through and make it happen and da-da-da. And, that's just not how that masculine force ego is, not how things manifest in our life. It's in the receptive, it's in the sit back, it's in the thinking about what you want. thinking about what you need to be happy, stating it all in guidelines like that, and then just going, all right, I surrender now, bring me what I need, bring me the people, bring me the opportunities, bring me the new job, and then just sitting back and trusting, and allowing it to come. So even with, with the Mars and the Leo, and, that's just like ego to the first degree, and it's like, I just feel like that's something too that's trying to shift out of us, that make happen, manipulate, force this to work. And it's like, if you just sit back sometimes and try to remember miracles that have come in your life at just the right timing. I was talking to a friend earlier about, I always try to remind people, like, think about like the day before your partner came into your life, or think about the day before you got that job that changed your life. I can even go back and think about the day before my whole business jumped into thrive gear and has not let up. But there was a day before that it started, and I had no clue that the next day everything would shift and that it would just have a ripple effect and keep shifting. But it was right before it shifted was when I really got as clear as I ever have on what I need, how much I need to make, how I want this to go out in the world, how I want this to get into the hands of all the people waking up. It wasn't until I really stated, I have these gifts, and that makes me think of something too. I did get the warning of, with the ego, I know I wrote this in an email to someone, and I was saying something about, it was very ego-filled, about nobody does it like how I do. And it's funny because I've told you guys to say that, and when I said it, I was like, whoa, I could feel like the energy drain of such a arrogant thing to say. And I kind of got a lot of hits on it later about, like, it's not so much about putting ourselves, like, I am better than any of you all, okay? Better, because that just completely pulls the energy of anybody you're talking to. It just makes them go, ew, that didn't feel so good. So it needs to be something where you're owning it within yourself, but it's not like you need to go out and be like Leo and I'm the best, okay? So there is, there's a balance you need to strike with that, where you do feel very proud of what you're doing and knowing that you're doing something very special, and also knowing that nobody does it just the way you do, but not making it so ego-filled where you're kind of pushing energy away by setting yourself so apart as better than anybody else. And so that's something I had to learn, and I got it after I wrote this sentence. I was like, ew, did I really say that? It just didn't sound pretty after I said it. So there's something with you needing to own your power, owning how unique you are, owning how gifted you are, owning how unique you are, but not necessarily having to keep wave it around on a big red flag to show everybody else, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome. Don't you see? Don't you see? I'm awesome, I'm awesome. And I mean, honestly, there's some people who are more half who will enjoy that, But if you're coming against someone who's a whole, they're going to just totally be turned off by that, because they'll be like, why do you so have to put that out there? Why do you so have to reinforce that in the world? Why aren't you content within to just be really good at what you're doing and just allow the flow to come and put you out into the world in whatever way, without having to constantly remind everybody that I am top notch, okay? So I did get the hit on that with the Mars and the Leo, that's something we do have to be aware of, because one thing too I'm learning with energy, with manifesting, with bringing the things into our life, it's like a delicate balance of how you want to think and how you want to be in the world and how you want to have your mind work, but so much of it still is more in the receptive, more in the just sitting back and like visualizing what you want, knowing it's going to come, seeing exactly how you want it to look, and then kind of allowing the universe to almost be the masculine part of it that brings it to manifestation, and you taking on the feminine of just kind of now sitting back and know it's coming. I do know too, a lot of you are at the cliff right now, and it's where you think there's no choice, and you don't know what you're going to do, and you're losing your mind. And I've been at that a lot. I've been at that. I wrote about it like in 2002. I remember talking. I really saw how, like, gosh, I keep going out to the cliff where I have like $5 to my name. I don't have a job. I'm freaking out. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. And then it was always where, at the very last minute, always when it was down to my last dollars, something always swooped in and pulled me back, and pulled me back to safety. And then I would go like a couple steps back from the ledge, and then 5 steps back from the ledge, and then 10 steps or whatever, so you can't see over it, so you're not nervous anymore. You feel a little safer. And then like something else would come, I'd get fired again, and then all of a sudden I'd be back at that cliff again. And I was getting so sick of it, because it was seriously like a decade. It was like I just kept getting fired. I kept getting fired, and it was always out of the blue, and I would have stability, and then I had no stability. So I really walked that one. So I can really tell you, I know what you are feeling, and I feel for you, and I remember how it feels like you don't know what to do, and you have no idea what choice to make. And what I can really tell you with that is, you can put it out there that if nothing happens, you will kill yourself. I've always done that one. Something will always stop you from that, because it's not what you're really supposed to do. But something about saying it, even though I feel so bad for saying this now, but seriously, there's something about saying it that, where you say, okay, well, if nothing happens in 3 weeks, I'll kill myself. And something about saying that kind of lets you off the pressure of feeling like you have to control it so much, because then you will be able to say, it's in the higher power's hands, and if this higher power wants me here, then she will bring me opportunities to keep me alive. And just so you know, before my business soared, I actually had the most painful time in my life, where I so wanted to kill myself. Like, I was telling people, like, I don't want to be in this world anymore. Like, I would go to bed, and all I could think about was going and getting a knife and slitting my wrist. Like, it was like this power was coming over me, where I had to hold back from not doing that. Like, I'd never felt like that in my life, even though I've always been obsessed with suicide. My first article I ever wrote in a paper was on suicide. I've always really been interested in that. But so I was just done. I was so pissed off, and I was like, nobody values what I'm doing, Everybody wants all this other stuff. Nobody wants what I want. I'm a loser. There's no purpose for me to be here. I want to go home. I'm done. I want to go home. And I actually see a lot of value in being so extreme in those moments, because it does shift energy. And what I noticed, especially with that last one, like I said, how when you do something that irrational and saying something that moronic that you really don't believe, and you better not believe, because if you do ever really get to the point where you think you have to, then you need to get a hold of me, and I will stop you, because it's not really what you're supposed to do. But something about stating that, something about stating it as, okay, well, then if nothing comes in 3 weeks, I will kill myself. It kind of takes away the pressure of thinking you need to make something happen, and it actually puts you more in the receptive mode. Because once you know, well, if I'm dead, nothing matters. The bill collectors, it doesn't matter. Finding a job, it doesn't matter, right? So suddenly, you're out of the feeling the masculine and needing to force something to happen, and you move back into the receptive, and that's when you can just more sit back and be like, well, I got 3 weeks, And then you kind of move more into the allowing the universe to put the people in your path, to put that phone call in your path, to put the opportunities in your path, to put the insight into your heart, the inspiration into your heart that moves you to, oh, what about this, or what about that? So if you are one of those people who is at the cliff, I would encourage you to be completely irrationally extreme, and get in your journal and say, if something doesn't shift, I'm out of here, because this world does not embrace me, and I guess it doesn't want me here. I mean, sometimes it's kind of cool to play the pity party, and especially if you are on the cliff, it's totally okay. It's almost like playing that pity party is going to shift it, It's like you have to fully hit rock bottom. And with this Pluto coming in, with the sun for this, it's about going to the very bottom, you know? So don't be surprised if you're completely put at the very bottom position of, I give up. I give up. I'm done. But understand there's a release in being so extreme with that. I give up. And that is what is going to allow this other opportunity, this other energy to kind of come towards you. Because there's obviously too many walls, too many fronts, too many restrictions, too much mental negativity going on of how you think it should look. So we're definitely going to be thinking all about that stuff right now. And, you know, like I said, there's two angles of this. Some people, you know, that's where, like, I think I've told you, like, I live in Santa Fe and I'm on my Pluto and Chiron line. And that's not something anybody would, and I didn't realize it till after, but that's not something anybody would ever do. Like in San Francisco, I was on my Jupiter line and I had the time of my life, you know. But now I'm on Pluto, you know, and Chiron. But the thing is like, if you do the work, and if you do be as vulnerable as you can be in like listening to what others have to offer through their own inspiration, and take what pieces your body says yes to, and really be as humble as you can be on this healing journey, then you will have those miracles come out of the blue that just like catapult you into other areas of expression. So Pluto is not doing anything that you don't need. And if you've gotten stuck in a rut, or if you're not really doing something that is feeding your soul, or if you're not doing something that it really is a part of your purpose this time around, if you're doing too much escape work and not really dealing with your stuff, you know, Pluto can really wipe it all out and take all that stuff away in a blink of an eye. You know, Pluto can burn your house down, you know, and take everything. So know that this guy works in the biggest ways that are possible, but he wants to take you to another level that is the highest place you can ever go. So it's not like he's just going to knock down a building and that's that, and leave this rubble and devastation. He's going to knock down this building, but then he's going to create a community garden that feeds the neighborhood, you know, so, and feeds homeless and helps people learn how to grow their own food, you know. So he's always working towards something that is for the betterment, but we are so stubborn, you know this, we're so stubborn, we so think we know it all. We so are conditioned collectively to push and make happen and get out there and make a job happen, you know? Like, come to me if you're tired of that kind of way, because I'm going to be like, no, you sit at home and do nothing until you feel moved, you know? You sit at home and do nothing until you hear, I need to go in there and find a job. Like, I would say, if you're on the cliff, you need to spend every moment away from the computer after you watch this. Now, don't I sound like such a hypocrite? I'm like, but you can watch my videos. But just don't get too addicted to them is my point. You know, don't just think I can only get through if I hear this. Like I said, let this be like the icing. But if I was on the cliff right now, I would be spending every available moment out in nature with a journal, writing, and just writing whatever is coming out and just allowing any kind of guidance to pull you in another direction, because you are not alone in this. But if you're thinking too much in the negative, or thinking you still have to control everything and you're really in charge in this world, which you're not, trust me, if you're thinking too much in that mentality, your gift will be kept even further down the path. But if you can just completely surrender to, I don't know what to do, God, tell me what I need to do, I'm losing my fucking mind, fuck, you know? Like, it's good to do that, you know? It's like, that's the thing that shifts the energy. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Help me, you know? How am I going to get through this? So if you're someone who's on the cliff, get out into nature and get quiet and get away from all these things. Like the internet's just going to show you all these things that are going to invoke the competitiveness in you, and looking at, well, they're doing that and look at how good they're doing, I must be a loser, or oh my god, everyone's already doing it, I can't make a living doing this. Like that's what shifted my business too, was I was like, I'm not going to look at anything anybody is doing. I look at nothing. I even like with my Facebook feed, I don't even like look at it anymore. I'm like, God, it always will just trigger something where I'm not good enough. Somebody else is better. It's already being done, or something that I don't want to see, like a tortured animal. I'm like, I don't need to see that. I know it's going on. Gah. So I just found myself getting so angry, which if you're not in our embrace yet, that's our private space where we get to just kind of share the love and things more on the down low, just in a sacred container. You should join up, because one thing about that too, I do have a page where everybody can just put their own posts and what's going on, but it's just so loving. It's so much more fun than the Facebook feed. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, it's just love, And we need to immerse ourselves in love and hope and all that. And I'm also doing a special, I'm going to let people in for 2014 a little early. So if you do join our Embrace Now, you only pay $11.11, and you'll get all the year of 2014 and then a couple months of 2013. I thought I'd open that early for people. And let's see what else. And if you guys are always wondering what I say, can you see that? I always have to handwrite it. I can't like get it from a printout. Like I have it like the symbols and the words will come through me when I write it. So this is why a lot of times they used to take me so long, whereas now I just can't go that deep into everyone's chart because I can't be handwriting them all. But it's like the moment I write it, it like hooks into me. Let me see what else I did want to talk about. Just the fact that we're also just, oh yeah, I thought that was really interesting that at the full moon or at the new moon, the part of fortune was right on Uranus. So the part of fortune was at 11 degrees Aries too, which is exactly opposing, the sun and moon. I think that's really fascinating because, your part of fortune is that spot of where you have luck and happiness in your life. Like if you follow the sign and the house it's in, like that's your direction, that's a little guidepost of do it like this and do it here, and you will have happiness in your life. So it's really kind of cool to see those in a person's chart. Like mine's in Gemini, in my 6th house, so it's kind of like in writing these healing, related things, that's where I will find happiness, and it's kind of true. But so this one's in, being more independent, being more creating that whole person instead of always operating as a half who's always looking for somebody else to fill you in, always looking for that other thing to bring you into a state of wholeness. If I had money, I would be happy, that kind of thing. And that's where we just have to shift out of that, because it's not true. It's a complete false. And it's like, until you're happy in being who you are right now with whatever you have, no matter how little or great that is, you won't be able to manifest this feeling, the feeling of contented, independent, individualistic assertiveness in your life. Like me, like I don't feel like I need anything. Like I moved out of the partnership one a long time ago, and I'm so glad I did, because I was like, I have to have a boyfriend, I have to have a boyfriend, I have to have a boyfriend, I have to have a boyfriend. And then I just took a huge retreat back, and now I'm like, I will only allow someone in my life if they just totally complement me and us as a couple. I don't need it to fill me. So it makes it a lot easier to be discriminating, and like, I don't know if we're really on the same path. We can be friends, I don't know if you're really, So, but I wasn't able to have that discriminating eye until I stood alone. So I would say with the part of fortune right there with the Uranus, that's an important thing for us to pay attention to, this is like a standalone kind of time and finding our own source of independence and ability to know that we are here for a reason and that we have every right to be here, and to kind of push, or not push through, but kind of, what is that? Kind of assert ourself through honoring who we are. Like honoring and loving ourselves alone asserts our energy out into the world, because it's this contentedness. And that is what sends this rippling energy out into the world, and then we magnetize all these things that we've been wanting to have happen. So I think I'll stop there. 40 minutes. How exciting. Yeah, so cool. So this will be downloaded. This will be uploaded in like 5 hours. Okay, so I should stop. And I'm planning on doing the individual readings. I might not do those till tomorrow, though. So if you're in our embrace, you'll be getting the notification of this video first, and then the rest of the people will get this later. But okay, so we're gonna stop there, and yeah, you have a beautiful new moon, and be gentle with yourself, but know that whatever you're seeing that's falling away is just not a correct match for you, and you have to own that you deserve the best, and you have to come to that valuing position of, I'm here for this thing, you know, I'm here to do this thing. I have to stop escaping and doing this other thing, because there's a big like escaping thing here of like, I don't know, everybody else is doing it this way, I'll just do it this way, you know. So that's kind of more escaping, because it has to be what you're hearing inside. Your intuition wants to guide you. Okay, so you have a beautiful new moon. I will see you tomorrow with the individual readings. Okay, have a beautiful day. Or maybe I'll do them today and surprise you. Now I'm like, maybe I will. Anyway, okay, cool. All right. All right. Bye.